The Dead Rising franchise has been dormant close to a decade, and most of us were expecting that would continue to be the case for the foreseeable future. Recently, however, the developer took us all by surprise with the announcement of Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, an enhanced revival of the series' original game. Set to launch later this year for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Whether you're a fan of the series who's been desperately hoping for it to come back, or just someone who's looking for a chance to finally get into it, this is looking like a promising way to jump in. With the developer having unveiled a host of new details on what enhancements and improvements the release will bring to the beloved classic, here we're going to go over those key points. Remake or Remaster. Even at first glance, it's clear that Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster isn't going to be a simple upres, or the sort of remaster that you would regularly see. It is in fact much closer to a full-blown remake, something that its development team is acknowledging as well, with improvements ranging from visual overhauls to redone controls, among several other things. Well, actually, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to call this game a remake, considering the work that we put into it, the developer said during the recent presentation on the game. RE Engine. The original Dead Rising was, of course, built on the MT framework engine, but the upcoming Deluxe Remaster won't stick to the same toolkit. Instead, the developer is taking this remaster as an opportunity to port the entire game over to the RE engine. With the remaster, all of Dead Rising's visuals are being completely overhauled in the new engine, entailing characters, environments, and much more. The gameplay that was showcased for the remaster has already showed the surprisingly significant visual upgrades that it's making over the original Dead Rising, while the company has offered tidbits on additional enhancements on top of that as well. Speaking of which, other visual enhancements. The company has confirmed that when Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster launches this September, it is going to run at 4K and 60 FPS, while during the game's recent presentation, art director Satoshi Takamatsu also revealed that the game will also feature real-time lighting and shadows, which will allow each area in the game setting to take on unique looks and feels based on the time of day. On top of that, players can also expect the remaster's completely redone graphics to entail improvements to material textures, blood splatter, facial animations, and much more. Unchanged gameplay core. While Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster is making more than a few changes to the original experience, more than you would expect from a simple remaster at the very least, the company has also stressed that keeping the original experience intact has been a key goal for the development team. Regardless of all of the technical and visual improvements, gameplay tweaks, quality of life additions, and what have you, the core of the game will remain unchanged. The developer said, "If you played the original, rest assured that its core remains unchanged in this deluxe remaster. We did our best to respect the direction of the original game. We kept the fundamental gameplay the same while improving upon the user experience. With this, we believe that both veterans and newcomers alike will be able to enjoy a fresh experience." Unchanged animations. In addition to the gameplay core being kept intact in the upcoming remaster, the developer has also ensured to not make too many changes to the combat and gameplay animations, hoping to retain the original game's personality. After all, the hilariously over-the-top and cartoonish gameplay animations of Dead Rising became a big part of its identity, and the developer is looking to preserve it as best it can. For character animations, we tried to limit unnecessary changes and use the original data as much as possible, especially during action scenes, said the developer. We could have made them more realistic with today's tools, but we wanted to preserve the unique and comical movements that made the original Dead Rising so special. QOL improvements. In terms of design and content, Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster is going to be a largely unchanged experience, but it will still make some polishing changes and tweaks to bring the experience up to modern standards and sand out some of its rougher edges. The developer is promising a number of quality life improvements to that end, including the addition of autosaves, fine-tuned and improved menus and UI, and more. Another big change will be the ability to move around while you're aiming a weapon, something that couldn't be done in the original and should change up moment-to-moment gameplay in interesting ways. Finally, the developer says it's also improving NPC behavior in various ways, though specific details on that front are currently scarce. Full voiceovers. Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster is being touted as the definitive way to play the zombie-slaying classic for more than a few reasons, whether that's the enhanced visuals, gameplay tweaks, or what have you. On top of that, in fact, the remaster is also set to feature full voice acting for every single character, something else that the original didn't boast. Voiceovers will be available in 9 different languages, while subtitles will be available in 14. Interestingly enough, it's also been officially confirmed that Terrence J. Rotolo, the voice of Frank West, isn't coming back to reprise his role in the remaster, though the developer has yet to reveal who will be replacing him. PC requirements. If you're looking to play Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster on PC, you'll want to make sure that you'll have more than a halfway decent rig. On minimum settings, the requirements aren't too demanding, with either a GeForce GTX 1060 or a Radeon RX 580, along with either an i7 6700 or a Ryzen 5 3400G. While on recommended settings, you'll need either a GeForce GTX 1070 Ti or a Radeon RX 5700, along with either an i7 8700 or a Ryzen 5 3600. To play the game at 4K and 60 FPS, however, you'll need either a GeForce RTX 3080 or a Radeon RX 6900 XT. Meanwhile, regardless of which presets you're looking at, you'll also need 16GB of RAM. Price and launch details. Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, being a remaster, even if it's a surprisingly comprehensive one, isn't going to be a full-priced release. When it launches on September 19th, it will be available at a price of $49.99, while a $59.99 deluxe edition will also be offered. Physical launch. When it launches this September, Dead Rising Deluxe Edition is only going to be available digitally on all platforms, but that doesn't mean the developer has no plans for a physical version whatsoever. The company has said that the game will get an official physical release in November, with further details set to arrive in the coming months. Hey, did you know that we at GamingBolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell, and let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.